You see what's going on, but you should already know. It's your man, Mike DeLoach, coming back to you with some more content of a black man in New Mexico. And today, we got a little something for y'all, you know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, just sit back, relax as we give you some of that.
I tell them, you ain't gotta be bishop, you wanna have the juice. Everybody unique, no one can be like you.
Welcome back to the channel. Again, this is your man, Mike DeLoach, bringing you some content of a black man in New Mexico. So, if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell as well so that you'll get notified whenever we drop some new content. You know what I mean? And if this is not your first time to the channel, welcome back. Today, again, we got a little something for y'all and we're gonna get straight into it. One thing we're gonna touch on is the fact that New Mexico has finally legalized marijuana for recreational use. If you don't know, before it was just for medicinal purposes. So if you had your medical card, so if you went in to a doctor, whatever, and they you know prescribed you or diagnosed you with something, PTSD or whatever the case may be, whatever umbrella that, whatever criteria they may have. But let's say you were diagnosed with something and you were able to get your medical marijuana card, so with that card you could go into, certain dispensaries and make your purchase, and I don't know, I know some common folk that had that card, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how hard it was to get a card. Some people made it seem like it was easier than harder to get the card if you really wanted one. You know what I mean? So the thing is now it's been legalized for recreational purposes. However, that doesn't take effect until April of 2022. As of now, we're basically still in, April of 21. You know what I mean? So it's not going to take effect until another year. But, they did pass the bill. Right now we're just waiting on the governor to sign the bill. And when the governor signs the bill, you actually have 90 days after the bill has been signed that you can actually start growing for personal use. And so, with that being said, personal use, they say you can grow up to 6 to 12 plants. You know what I mean? So that's reasonable amount, I would assume, for personal consumption. You know what I'm saying? But you can grow 90 days after the bill is signed. So granted, again, it doesn't take effect until April of 2022. You can start with that. You know what I'm saying? And of course, whenever it does take effect, some of the things that they talked about was the fact that there will be certain places where you can and cannot smoke. They're still, I guess, coming up with what's going to be those areas or what's going to determine what area you can and you can't smoke in. But they definitely talk about not smoking in public places. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more that comes along with that, as far as, again, where you can, where you can't, and if people gonna be turning their nose up at it or whatever. If you are outside and, let's say, in a public place but it's open, because people gonna test their limits, that, you know what I mean, and myself included, I'm gonna test my limits too. Quick story, before New Mexico was legalized, I was in Vegas, you know what I mean, and staying at the Caesar's Palace. Ran into a local, who actually shared a J with me, if you would. But meanwhile, we were sitting out in front of the hotel and smoking tobacco, no problem. Nobody smoking a cigarette, nobody said anything. Smoking a black and mild, nobody said anything. As soon as the homie started rolling up, one of the security came up and was like, well, he kind of tried to go back and forth with him, like, is that tobacco or is that marijuana? And the thing is, it's legal for recreational use in Vegas. And the guy's like, is that tobacco or is that marijuana? And these may have been questions that you may have got in Georgia, and try to play stupid and be like, it's tobacco or whatever, or somebody trying to get you just to play it off, or I'm gonna pretend like I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? But like, you need to go away with that. You know what I mean? You're just not gonna smoke that here. I don't mind if you smoke, but you're not gonna smoke it here. And that's kind of how the thing was in Vegas. But meanwhile, it's legal. So why should I act like it's tobacco? Like, nigga, you know what it is. Your point. The guy couldn't say anything about him having the weed, but he could make a big deal about him smoking it in front of the hotel. And I'm sure that's how it's going to be, in some places here when it does, take in effect. You know what I mean? And again, I'm sure limits will be pushed as well to see where you can and you can't. But also with that, you know what I mean? They're saying some jobs may still have a zero tolerance policy for that, meaning that you still have to take a drug test, and if you do, take a drug test and we see that marijuana is in your system, we can either fire you or, refuse to hire you, so of course that's going to be a lot of your government jobs. They may still have that zero tolerance, you know what I mean? It'll probably be like anything was before, like those jobs that require you to take one still may require you to take a drug test, and those that don't require, you know, it's not going to require you, because I made good money with a job that, didn't have a drug test, you know what I mean? Some of those call centers don't drug test and they pay good money, you know what I mean? But not saying limit yourself to a call center, but, understand the rules, understand the game that you playing, so, you know what I'm saying, you can win, and understand that, again, yeah, it's recreational, but depending on the atmosphere and the environment that I want to play in and what job I want, you know, and some people always had that mindset like I pass because I want this certain position, but of course to the smokers, it's going to be a different scenario, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that's, for the legalization of this, and I'm interested to see, what type of businesses will pop up, out of the legalization of this marijuana thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, one of the things too, they're gonna treat it like alcohol. You got to be 21 and up in order to purchase. You know what I mean? And I think the limits are you can purchase up to 2 ounces per day or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be available, but still a year from now. But I think they've been trying to pass this bill for the past couple years. I know at least for the past year or whatever. But it's finally, they're making its way. Right now I think they're just working on the kinks within this year to see how they're really gonna roll it out next year. You know what I mean? Congrats to New Mexico. You know what I'm saying? As of now, did some research. 17 states are fully legal. New Mexico would be the 18th state. You know what I mean? So, and that's the thing. Like, we're right there by, because you got Washington, Oregon, and California right there on the West Coast, and then Arizona is between New Mexico and California. And you got Vegas just above, like Arizona, which is all legal. So it's like, come on, But hey, finally making this way. So I just want to touch on that real quick. You know what I mean? And but at the same time, again, congrats to New Mexico. Glad that it's finally happening. Definitely going to be some changes, and to how things are going to be moving forward. And closing out, I would just like to say this because, even though it may be happening here, coming from where I'm from, growing up in the South, that's just something that, in a sense, may be still far fetched for the South. You know what I mean? As a whole, but the thing is because, I know people back home who have gotten locked up for possession. Nothing big, some big, but, some not as big. You know what I mean? And even the ones that who may have been locked up for bigger, it's probably been non-violent. So the thing is, a lot of people have gotten locked up behind non-violent crimes, or because of possession, and here it is. Like on the west coast of things are a little more lenient, It's recreational, as you can see in surrounding states, you know. So, hopefully at one point, all 50 states will get there. Who knows if we will. Never know, you know what I mean? But it's definitely like the new um, prohibition, you know what I'm saying? Of making it legal, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully they let out all those people, you know, throughout certain, states that have those non-violent possession crimes or whatever. You know what I mean? Because shoot, like I said, some states if it is, in some states it's not. But like I said, you got people in one state getting locked up for the shit, whereas people in other states smoking it freely. You know, but that's really all I got for now. Like I said, just something that I thought about, but I guess I could say fortunate enough to be in the location that I am, and around the different locations within the West Coast, and even in Colorado, to be able to experience it freely, and kind of just, you don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to worry about, getting pulled over. Granted, that may be another story because they was talking about how could they test it, as far as someone being, under the influence, so certain laws may change too, with this coming into play. Let's say you do have it and you haven't smoked it and you just so happen to have something. You don't have to worry about, being taken in. It's recreational. It's like, hey, I just came from such and such is my receipt. Like, I haven't consumed anything, so, and just still be able to, get a pass or whatever, and, maybe that's something they're not even looking for, Back home, they'd be looking for it to lock you up, and lo and behold, don't let them smell it, they trying to search. So, like I said, it's bittersweet, but again, fortunate enough to be within one of those environments that are accepting it. But again, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell as well so that you can get notified when we drop some new content. But, leave a comment, share the video, all of that good stuff. And, let us know what you think, Let me know where you at. Is it legal where you at yet? You know what I'm saying? Have you been to a place where it's legal and you've experienced it versus living in a place that is not legal, How did you feel? Because I'm sure even if you're in a place where it's not legal, you go to a place where it is, you still gonna be on the edge about even smoking in public, Granted, you can go buy it, but you may be on edge as far as where you smoke it. You may start to be low-key about it, you know what I mean? But imagine smoking weed in the streets without cops harassing, When the Nas right there. I was released in 96, 2021. Granted, it's happened in, other states before, and then won't happen here until 2022. You know what I mean? But, damn near 26 years later, it's happening. But imagine smoking weed in the streets without cops harassing. I'm your man, Mike DeLoach, coming back to you with a black man in New Mexico. Thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll holler back. As always, thank you for watching A Black Man in New Mexico with your man, Mike DeLoach. So, if you haven't already, hit that icon in the corner. Be sure to click on my face so that you can subscribe to the channel and get uploaded, when we drop that new content. And by the way, be sure to check out one of these videos here as well, to see what else we got going on in the content, But again, we appreciate you. It's your man, Mike DeLoach. And until next time, we'll holler back.